Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is OJ. On today's episode, I want to teach you guys how I made this bustier gown with illusion net as yoke. If this is something you're interested in, let's get started. So on this channel, I already made a video where I explained in details how to cut a bustier pattern, how to draft a bustier pattern. But in this video, I'm just going to do a quick recap. So on my front pattern, I have my basic round neck. Then I modify it by coming down by half of an inch and with the width to by half of an inch. Then at the center front for the yoke, I came down by 9 inches. Then I reconnected back to my armhole. Then for my armhole, I want my my shoulder to be a little bit inside because this gown is going to be sleeveless. So I went inside by 1.5 inches. Then I reconnected back to my armhole. Then for my back pattern, after my zipper allowance, I came down by 9 inches for my yoke because I want the back to be a little bit down. Then at the armhole too, I went inside towards the shoulder by an 1.5 inches because it is going to be sleeveless, so I want it to be very curvy. So for my zipper at the lower part of my waist, I went in by half to prevent bulginess, so I reconnected back to the upper part of my zipper allowance. So after that, I added the half back to my side allowance. Then I reconnected back to my armhole. Then I went ahead to cut it out. So for my fabric, I'm going to be making use of a lace fabric. So I already pinned down my patterns on the fabric. So I'll go ahead to cut them out. And while cutting, I'm going to add half of an inch round the joining part, like the waistline, the bustier line, and the upper part for my illusion net. So after that, I went ahead to cut my illusion net. For this illusion net, you're going to make sure you are placing your pattern on the stretchy grain of your illusion net, which means the stretchy line should be on your horizontal line. So I cut it out with half of an inch too. Same with my back pattern. So after that, I went ahead to cut the lining for this fabric. So this fabric, because it's a lace fabric, is going to have a bridal fabric before the actual lining. So here I was done cutting my bridal fabric to line my lace and the lining too. Then I've gone ahead to gum the interface on it. I didn't gum the interface on my actual lining, just on my bridal lining. So after that, I'm going to go ahead to cut my wording for my bustier part. So I'm making use of a soft wording here. You can actually make use of a hard wording for very good stability. If you want it to be very curvy and hold, you can make use of a hard wording. Or if you can't get that, you can actually double this soft wording. You can double it to give it a stronger stability. So I went ahead to cut my wording here for the center front and same for the side front. So for my side front, I didn't want my wording to get to my allowance because it will be too very bulky. So I decided to shape it out, and I don't want it to get to my waistline too. So I decided to just curve it out. Then I placed it for fusing, for gumming. Then I'm going to go ahead to gum it on it. But before that, I'm going to cut out half of an inch away from the upper part of my wadding, both for the center front and the side front. This is because when I'm joining my illusion net, I don't want it to be too bulky at that area, because when I turn it in, if I don't cut it, it will be very bulky and to be very inconvenient to work with. So I'm just going to go ahead to pin the side front to the center front at both sides. Then I'm going to go ahead to join them together. So here I was done joining, and you can see my bustier is already coming out fine. If you like, you can add cup to your bustier, but for mine, I'm not going to be doing that. So I went ahead to notch it, then I'm going to iron it out. So after ironing, the next thing is for me to join my illusion net to it. So I'm just going to go ahead to pin it around it from the center front. Then I'm going to pin it to both sides. Then stitch it down. So after that, you can see my net is really sitting pretty well. So now it's time to introduce my lining, my main lining to it. So I'm trying to put the joining parts together, then I pin it down, including the center front too. But at this point, you have to be very careful while stitching that you don't stitch your illusion net with it. While you're stitching it down, you check every time that you're not stitching your illusion net with it, because once you stitch your illusion net down with your fabric and you try to loosen it, it's going to definitely destroy that illusion net. So you just have to be careful while stitching at this point. You can see I was raising up my lining every second to check if I'm not stitching down my illusion net while stitching it down. So after I was done stitching, I checked my illusion net and it's really coming out fine, as you can see. So what I'm going to do next is to top stitch it. So I'm going to be top stitching towards the lining, and I'll advise you top stitch on the right side of your fabric, because this way you can take note of whatever you're doing so you don't destroy your net. So after I was done, this is what I have. Then I cut out the excess that I might have after stitching, and you just have to be careful here too, because you're really working with an illusion net, and with a little mistake it can just destroy. So after that, I went ahead to join my fabric down at the sides with the lining so that I'll be able to use it to turn it out. So for my back pattern, I have 1.5 for my zipper allowance, and my illusion net is 2 inches away from my center back, making it 3.5 inches away from the center back. So I'm going to so I placed my illusion net on the fabric, then I measure out 3.5 inches. So that is where my illusion net is going to be starting from. Then I went ahead to use the lining to turn it in. So after I was done turning out my back piece with the lining, the next thing for me to do is to join both the front piece and the back piece together at the shoulder. And do not forget, my illusion net is just a single net. It's just a single net. So I'm going to be joining it at the shoulder with a French seam. So for this French seam, I'll place my back and front pattern together, wrong side facing each other. Then I'm going to join my illusion net at the shoulder with a very tiny allowance, just like a minute joining, because I'm going to be turning it back inside, then join it again. That is how you join your shoulder with a French seam. So just watch as I do that closely. So right now I'm turning it back to the wrong side, then I'm going to be joining it with half of an inch. So after I was done joining, this is what I have, a very neat French seam. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to join my upper bodice at the sides with the stitching allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead to join into the skirt part of my gown and fix my zip. So after that, you're going to see the end result of this project. And after that, this is what I have. If you watch this video to this very point, I'm very grateful. Please do not forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on post notifications. I'll see you up in my next video. Bye bye.